Start?
Yeah,
Let's
let's,
start.
why not? We're here. And we can always cover it again if somebody has some questions or something. So, just to review a little bit, this is, this represents the contextual framework. See, here's leader and leadership as linguistic abstractions, realm of possibility. We did that, right?
Yes.
And then, so, which is here. And then, since we went from everything to something more specific, we just said, we opened up anything and everything, right? And now we're going to bring it down to some things that are more specific. And so we went up here to the foundational factors, and we're working on integrity. See, so they're right down here. So we did this, and we're going to come down here. Then we're going to do these sides, close it all in, and then there's going to be kind of
like it's a basic and there's the more.
Yeah, we're going to make this. This is the context, the cube, and then at the end there's going to be something on the front, which will be kind of a surprise. All right, so So 440. Slide number. All right. So here's just another way. We will now begin creating boundaries within leader and leadership as the realm of possibility, which boundaries create the context. The boundaries create the context, so that's what we're working on, the context that gives you the being of a leader and the actions of effective exercise of leadership. We're all, you could just say it out loud.
No, just explain what boundaries is.
Oh, boundaries. You know what boundaries are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The edges.
Limits.
Limits. Yeah. Limits. So, creating these boundaries begins with mastering for yourself the 4 factors that constitute the foundation. Right? Those are the 4 factors. Yeah. I get it later. All right. So we're now creating the boundaries. It'll just have to keep going.
Maybe something important.
All right, so we're creating the boundaries. So here's the foundation, integrity, right? Matches up the box. So here we go. See, we're laying the floor in. And the law of integrity states, we covered this, as integrity, whole and complete, declines, workability declines. And as workability declines, value, or more generally, the opportunity for performance declines. Thus, the maximization of whatever performance measure you choose requires integrity. Violating the law of integrity generates painful consequences just as surely as violating the law of gravity. So, without integrity, nothing works. The impact on performance is huge, 100 to 500%. We covered this, so I'm skipping around. Perhaps the most important aspect of being out of integrity is the loss of yourself. In a very real sense, you are your word. When you honor your word to yourself and others, you are at peace with yourself, and therefore act from a place where you are at peace with others and the world, even those who disagree with or might threaten you. You live without fear for yourself, but that is who you are as a person. There's no fear of losing the admiration of others. You do not have to be right. You act with humility. Okay, so we covered the, let's just say this again. Everything or anything that someone else might say is okay for consideration. No need to defend or explain yourself or rationalize yourself. You're able to learn. Often mistaken as mere self-confidence rather than the true courage that comes from being whole and complete. That is, being a man or woman of integrity. A critically important element of being a leader. Cost of lack of integrity and the veil of invisibility. Almost all people in organizations fail to see the costs imposed by the violations of the law of integrity. The unworkability generated by the lack of integrity occurs to people in organizations as the consequence of something other than violations of the law of integrity. For most of us, the breakdowns and confusion, that is the mess in our lives, is just the way life is, like water to the fish and air to the birds. Most people rationalize or explain the mess in their organizations and their lives without getting the out of integrity behavior that is the actual source. The state of affairs is an example of you can't manage what is undistinguished, therefore it will run you. So what they're saying here is the mess in our organizations, in our lives, at the source of it is some integrity, out of integrity condition. So there's a paradox. So people in organizations, while committed to performance, systematically sacrifice integrity in the name of increasing performance and thereby reduce performance. So how can this occur? If operating with integrity is so productive, you get 100 to 500% increase in performance, why do people systematically sacrifice their integrity and suffer the consequences? Why are they blind to these effects? Why are we blind? Well, here's where we left off. Integrity is a virtue. So, virtue, we were going to look that up. And here is a virtue. Goodness, righteousness, morality, integrity, dignity, honor, decency.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. As a virtue, like being good, it's easy to sacrifice when it appears that a person or organization must do so to succeed. So you don't have to be quite as moral or quite as righteous or quite as good. If it looks like the organization's not going to succeed, you can sacrifice your integrity a little bit so it'll succeed. So if you regard integrity as a virtue and not being so good or just not being so noble, you can sacrifice that and the company will survive, or you'll survive personally.
Like
in
like in Mirage.
It's a mirage, exactly.
Mirage.
So, like when we say it is business, nothing, what's the best? Nothing personal, it is okay?
Say it again.
Like it is business, nothing personal.
Yes, it's just business, it's nothing personal. And so we don't see that we're sacrificing performance. It looks like we're just being a little bit bad, or a little bit unethical, or a little bit, we don't see it as a sacrifice in performance 100 to 500% impact in performance. So it's a veil. Since you can't see it, that's why we would do it. We would just be a little bit bad, a little bit less righteous, and sacrifice integrity. But the impact is 100 to 500% performance. Sacrificing integrity as a virtue seems no different than sacrificing being courteous. You just stop being a little nice, and then you will succeed, the company will succeed, but it doesn't look like there's an impact of performance into 100 to 500%. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here's the second one. Self-deception about being out of integrity. People generally do not see when they're out of integrity. In fact, they are mostly unaware that they have not kept their word. What they see is the reason, the rationalization or excuse for not keeping their word. In fact, people systematically deceive, lie to themselves about who they have been and what they have done. As Chris Argyris, after 4 decades of studying human nature, concludes, put simply, People consistently act inconsistently, unaware of the contradiction between their espoused theory and their theory in use, between the way they think they are acting and the way they really act. You understand espoused and theory in use? Yeah?
No.
No.
But
Hi. Hi. Welcome. We're on factor number 2. Do you remember factor number 1?
Integrity?
Huh? Grab your name tag. Factor number 1 that contributes to the veil of invisibility was regarding integrity as a virtue. And as a virtue,
Yes.
you can sacrifice being a little courteous or sacrificing, and we don't see the impact of it. So now we're doing number 2. Okay? So people generally don't see when they're out of integrity. In fact, they're mostly unaware that they have not kept their word. And they see the reason, the rationalization, or the excuse. Okay? Put simply, people consistently act inconsistently. You know, their theory of use, their espoused theory, what they say, oh yeah, I'm a person of integrity, oh yeah, you can count on me, and then they don't. And they don't see that, or we don't see that for ourselves. So, and if you think this is not you, you're fooling yourself about fooling yourself. Because people cannot see they're out of integrity, it is impossible for them to see the cause of the unworkability in their lives and organization, the direct result of their own violations of the law of integrity. 9 factors that contribute to the veil of invisibility. This is 3. Integrity, 3. Integrity is keeping one's word. The belief that integrity is keeping one's word, period, leaves no way to maintain integrity when it is not possible, or when it is inappropriate, or one simply chooses not to keep one's word. And that leads to concealing, not keeping one's word, which adds to the veil of invisibility about the impact of violations of the law of integrity. We've used the word promise, keeping one's promise. We've drawn a little bit of distinction between honoring your word and keeping your promise in this. I learned promise. There's your promise, and then you honor your word. Honoring your word is your relationship with your promise. Here, they use one's word synonymous with one's promise. Okay? So the belief that integrity is keeping one's word. In other words, if you make a promise, you have to do it. And there's no way to maintain integrity when it's not possible, when you can't keep a promise, or you just don't keep a promise. You cannot. If you think integrity is keeping your promises no matter what, you can't restore your relationship to your word. You can't honor your word if you think integrity is always keeping your promises, or always doing what you said. Does that make sense? You get that? Yeah? Okay. 9 factors that contribute to the veil of invisibility. 4. Fear of acknowledging you are not going to keep your word. When maintaining your integrity, by acknowledging that you are not going to keep your word and cleaning up the mess that results, occurs for you as a threat to be avoided, like it was when you were a child, rather than simply a challenge to be dealt with, then you will find it difficult to maintain your integrity. When not keeping their word, most people fear the possibility of looking bad and the consequent loss of power and respect. They choose the apparent short-term gain of avoiding the fear by hiding that they will not keep their word. This conceals the long-term loss caused by the violations of the law of integrity. You notice each one they're using conceal. Thus, out of fear, we are blinded to, and therefore mistakenly forfeit, the power and respect that accrues from acknowledging that one will not keep one's word, or that one has not kept one's word. 9 factors that contribute to the veil of invisibility. 5. Integrity is not seen as a factor of production, leading people to make up false causes and unfounded rationalizations as the sources of failure, which in turn conceals the violations of the law of integrity as the source of the reduction of the opportunity for performance that results in failure.
But conceals means lead to something.
Conceal,
Yeah.
cover up, which in turn covers up the violations, conceals. You can't see that. If you don't see that integrity is a factor of production, in other words, if you can't see that integrity situation will increase your performance of 100 to 500%, if you can't see that, it conceals the violations of the law of integrity as the source of the reduction of the opportunity for performance that results in failure. It's a little tough, huh? But if you see integrity as a factor of production, then you don't have to conceal it. When production drops, you look for an out of integrity condition.
I get it.
You get it? 6, not doing a cost-benefit analysis on giving one's word. When giving their word, most people do not consider fully what it will take to keep that word. That is, people do not do a cost-benefit analysis on giving their word. In effect, when giving their word, most people are merely sincere, well-meaning, are placating someone, and don't even think about what it will take to keep their word. This failure to do a cost-benefit analysis on giving one's word is irresponsible. Such irresponsible giving of one's word is a major source of the mess left in the lives of people and organizations. Indeed, people often do not even know they have given their word. You got that?
Yeah.
No. All right. Good. What part don't you get?
People often don't even know they have given their word.
Yes. They just say, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Right?
And that's okay.
Without thinking, they just gave their word to see you tomorrow. Or I'll see you at class, right? I'll see you tomorrow. I say, I see you tomorrow to everybody, right? And they don't say, no, you won't. And that became their word. And they don't know that that was their word. So that conceals it, right? The cost benefit, you need to do a cost benefit analysis on making the promise or giving a word before you do. And most people don't know that they gave their word, so they don't, which it complicates it. People generally do not see that giving their word as, I am going to make this happen. If you are not doing this, you will be out of integrity. Generally, people give their word intending to keep it. That is, they're merely sincere. If anything makes it difficult or even inconvenient to deliver, then they provide reasons instead of results. Well, it was too cold. It was inconvenient. As though that makes a difference. 7, doing a cost-benefit analysis on honoring one's word. Now, this isn't the keeping part. This is honoring. The part where you said I did or I didn't. Okay? So, honoring that you gave your word. People almost universally apply cost-benefit analysis to honoring their word. Treating integrity as a matter of cost-benefit analysis guarantees that you will not be a trustworthy person, or, with a small exception, a person of integrity. Because you're doing a cost-benefit analysis on whether or not you should honor your word. Not whether or not you should keep your promise, but whether you should honor your word. Are you getting this?
Yeah.
Integrity, trust, and the economic principle of cost-benefit analysis. If I apply cost-benefit analysis to honoring my word, I'm either out of integrity to start with because I have not stated the cost-benefit contingency that is in fact part of my word, I lied. Or to have integrity, when I give my word, I must say something like the following. I will honor my word when it comes time for me to honor my word if the cost of doing so are less than the benefits. Such a statement, while leaving me with integrity, is unlikely to engender trust. In effect, I just told you I am an unmitigated opportunist. Did you get the word unmitigated?
What does it mean?
We get it, but what does it
Huh?
We get the sense, but what does it mean this word?
Unmitigated?
Yeah.
To mitigate something means to contain it or cut it off. To mitigate the radiation at Chernobyl, they put a concrete vault over it. Unmitigated would mean to just let it unfettered go. Unmitigated opportunist. Those two words are used very often together. Unmitigated opportunist. In a sense, I have given you my word that you cannot trust me to honor my word. At best, you are left guessing what costs and benefits I will be facing when it comes time for me to honor my word. And if the costs are greater than the benefits, as I see them, I will not honor my word. Therefore, I would be for you an untrustworthy person. The bottom line, if you choose to be a person of integrity, you have no choice when it comes time to honor your word. Honor your word. They didn't say keep your promise, they said honor your word. Nevertheless, the economic prediction that as the apparent or immediate costs of being in integrity rise, more people or organizations will be out of integrity and vice versa. It is highly likely to be consistent with observed behavior. The problems in education and business thinking arise when we do not hammer home the personal and organizational dangers of applying cost-benefit thinking to honoring one's word. We then inadvertently teach our induced students, employees, and managers to not see the costly consequences of out-of-integrity behavior. To repeat, in order to be in integrity, you must apply the cost-benefit analysis to giving your word. If I take on integrity as who I am, then I should and will think carefully before I give my word. And I will recognize I am putting myself at risk when I do so. And I will never give my word to two or more things that are mutually inconsistent, like being at the same place. Two different
So
places.
before giving the word, we need just consider the cost and benefits and then do it.
Yeah, we need to think a little bit before,
Yeah.
before saying something.
Yeah. Then you will, well,
Because it makes
Like when you say
us
one drop,
responsible.
how loud you, and after that to another is another. Yeah.
huh?
Great example.
What?
Great example.
Great example. Okay, well, there's a little more here. In a very real sense, being a person of integrity starts with me giving my word to myself. My word to myself that I am a person of integrity. And when I do that, I say to myself, I am going to make this happen, not I'm going to try to make this happen, or I hope this will happen. As Yoda says in Star Wars, there is no try, only do or not do. Okay. Factor number 8, integrity is a mountain with no top. People systematically believe that they are in integrity, or if by chance they are at the moment aware of being out of integrity, they believe they will soon get back into integrity. In fact, integrity is a mountain with no top. However, the combination of one, generally not seeing our own out of integrity behavior, 2, believing that we are persons of integrity, and 3, even when we get a glimpse of our own out of integrity behavior, assuaging ourselves with the notion that we will soon restore ourselves to being a person of integrity keeps us from seeing that, in fact, integrity is a mountain with no top. To be a person of integrity requires that we recognize this and learn to enjoy the climbing.
Thank you.
Knowing that integrity is a mountain with no top and being joyfully engaged in the climb leaves us as individuals with power and leaves us known by others as authentic and as men or women of integrity. Knowing that we will never get there also opens us up to tolerance of and the ability to see and deal productively with our own out of integrity behavior as well as that of others. Consider how difficult it would be for a person or organization to be completely in integrity at any moment in time, much less in integrity continuously as we go through life. One would have to be in integrity with respect to every instance of words 1 through 6 at every moment of time. Word 1, what you said. 2, what you know to do or not do. 3, what is expected of you. Unexpressed request of you by each of those with whom you wish to have a workable relationship unless you have explicitly declined that expectation. W4, what you say is so. W5, what you stand for. W6, the moral, ethical, and legal codes of each and every society, group, and governmental entity of which you are a member. Remember earlier on we defined that as your word? So you would have to be in integrity with respect to every instance of those 6 things every moment in time. Thus, we had better enjoy climbing because this is a mountain with no top. Notice that every time we put something into integrity in our lives, our organization, workability and the opportunity for performance increase. The effect is huge, and yet we will never get it all done. Therefore, we better learn to enjoy climbing. Factor 9. Not seeing that who you are as a person is your work. That is, thinking that who you are as a person is anything other than your work. For example, thinking that who you are is your body, or what is going on with you internally, your mental, emotional state, your thoughts and thought processes, and your bodily sensations, or anything else you identify with such as your title, or position in life, or your possessions, etc., leaves you unable to see that when your word is less than whole and complete, you are diminished as a person. A person is one constituted in language. As such, when a person's word is less than whole and complete, they are diminished as a person.
What is it diminished?
Made small. The golden rule versus integrity. The golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You have that here, right? Huh? Yeah, wherever it came from. I think it did. A world in which everyone followed the golden rule would be wonderful. However, This rule for action leaves one with no power. One is left depending on the goodwill of others to benefit personally. Moreover, it turns one into a Pollyanna or patsy that can easily be preyed upon by others.
Well, Pollyanna.
Pollyanna. Do you know what that is? It's a Greek mythology, reference to a Greek mythological character who always thought everything was wonderful and everything was great. They were just Pollyanna about everything was great. Everything is perfect. They always thought good thoughts. Everything, it's called being a Pollyanna. And a patsy.
I saw a film.
You saw a film about a Pollyanna?
There is a book called Pollyanna.
Yes. And a patsy, you know what that is? That's kind of like a doormat. Somebody who will always just lay down and do whatever somebody else wants. Like a doormat. They're the patsy. They're always left holding the bag of blame. Pollyannas and patsies are easily preyed on by others. In contrast, integrity is something one does for oneself. It is actionable and does not require the cooperation of others. It pays one to behave with integrity even if those around you are not, because those around you will trust you, and that is valuable to you. Integrity is privately optimal and does not make one into a Pollyanna or patsy that can be preyed upon. Just because you behave with integrity does not mean that you trust those around you to do who you do not be. Let me do that again. Just because you behave with integrity does not mean that you trust those around you who do not behave with integrity. You are not a Pollyanna or a patsy. The result is workability, greater performance, greater value, and joy. And in the equilibrium that results in something close to the golden rule will be realized. Integrity in one's relationship to oneself and others. It is my word through which I define and express myself, both for myself and for others. It is not too much to say that who I am is my word, both who I am for myself and who I am for others. It follows that in order to be whole and complete as a person, my word to myself and others must be whole and complete. It's not too much to say who I am is my word, both who I am for myself and who I am for others. Self-disintegration. Violating the law of integrity, that is not honoring your word to yourself and others, results in self-disintegration. And self-disintegration limits what you can be. Said another way, each out-of-integrity act reduces your opportunity for performance, thus reducing what is possible for you to be. And each out-of-integrity act also reduces your ability to realize what it is possible for you to be in that now shrunken opportunity set. Could use the word diminished there too for now shrunken. A picture of integrity. What would your life be like? And what would your performance be if it were true that you have done what you said you would do and you did it on time? You have done what you know to do and you did it the way it was meant to be done and you did it on time. You have done what others would expect you to do, even if you never said you would do it and you did it on time. Or you've informed them that you will not meet their expectations. And you have informed others of your expectations for them and have made explicit requests to those others. And whenever you realize that you are not going to do any of the foregoing, are not going to do it on time, you have said so to everyone who might be impacted. and you did so as soon as you realized that you wouldn't be doing it, or wouldn't be doing it on time. If you were going to do it in the future, you have said by when you would do it. And you have dealt with the consequences of your not doing it on time, or not doing it at all, for all those who are impacted by your not doing it on time or not doing it at all. In a sentence, you have done what you said you would do, or you have said you are not doing it. You have nothing hidden. You are truthful, forthright, straight, and honest. And you have cleaned up any mess that you have caused for those depending on your word. And almost unimaginably, what if others operated this way with you? What of the factors contributing to the veil of invisibility are you most susceptible to? We're going to do that now. And are there certain situations or certain people where one or more of the factors are more prevalent? Which one of the 9 factors are you most susceptible to? So can you see them there? Integrity is a virtue, self-deception. Integrity is keeping your word. Like no matter what, you think you have to do it. So therefore, usually people who think that never promise anything. The fear of acknowledging.
What is most close to us? Yeah. What is most close to us?
What?
Most close to us. What do you need to say?
Most close to us?
Uh,
Are you trying to understand the question?
yeah.
Which of the factors contributing to the veil of invisibility are you most susceptible to? Which of these 9 factors are you most susceptible to?
What is susceptible?
It's more. Do you get it?
Yeah.
All right.
Cost
And if you
benefit.
keep in the word,
Cost benefit analysis.
You're most susceptible to doing a cost benefit analysis.
I want to do it, to study it, to think.
You want to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Which one are you most susceptible to? Which one is going to be more of a problem for you than any of the others?
No problem.
Which is going
Which
to be
one?
or what should
Which
be?
one do you succumb to?
Maybe nothing.
Which
That's when we are building reasons.
Yeah.
Building what?
Reasons.
Oh, you're more susceptible to giving a reason
Yes.
instead of honoring your word.
Yeah.
Okay,
Or
good.
maybe it's difficult just when we were talking about the virtue.
Huh?
The first, yeah, virtue.
Virtue.
Yeah, virtue.
Yes.
And
That's
it's-
that's the one that you're most susceptible to.
Yeah, it's difficult.
It seems like a virtue. And so therefore it's not important.